shit, I was dying.
You see where she's hit at?
No, it's on the side of her head. They're saying she's pregnant too. Take a deep breath.
That woman ain't gonna never be the same again, man. God damn, nobody should have to bury their kids. Your kid's supposed to bury you. That's sick.
This woman was just informed that her daughter, Tiara Harris, was shot in a gang-related incident and is in critical condition.
They just were shooting, and the blood just started dripping from her head. Like, she ain't on the ambulance. Like, I can't even talk right now, bro.
Her boyfriend rushed her to the hospital, but sadly, it was already too late. And the worst part, Tiara had nothing to do with the shootout. She was an innocent bystander. A simple mix-up left an innocent, pregnant mother of 2 dead, her children now motherless, and her family absolutely heartbroken. The police now face a grueling investigation. However, with everyone involved supposedly being gang members, catching the killers would prove to be much harder than anything they'd done before.
Seems like it's gonna be a good one,
We've been in touch with Yolanda, the mother featured in this video, and are proud to share that half of the video's profits will be donated to the Akron-based charity First Glance Student Center. At 7:29 p.m. on April 14th, Akron Police Department would receive multiple calls reporting dozens of gunshots being fired out of 1492 Rockaway Street. Witnesses would describe what seemed like a gang-related shooting with multiple cars speeding away from the scene, one being a silver 4-door Chevy. Police managed to quickly track down the Chevy, following it as the driver sped across back roads in Akron. However, the Chevy wasn't actually running from the cops. It instead would pull over somewhere that concerned the cops even more. The hospital.
Hey, hold up. 5807. 5807. Go ahead and shut the car off. Shut the car off. Shut the car off here. Go ahead and put your hands on top of your head, alright? Hands, nope. Hands on top of your head. Step up. Step up.
So, do we have someone checking Main Street?
Alright, man. Here, step back here to the back of the car. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back.
With the incident being reported as a gang-related shootout, police would assume the man driving the Chevy to be a gang member, meaning he would be very unlikely.
Yeah, he look like he is fucking pissed.
To talk to them, so instead they decide to stop him in the back of a patrol car for later interrogation. As this was going on, dozens of additional 911 calls would ring in, witnesses would arrive at the Akron Police Department to give their testimonies, and more cars would arrive at the hospital. Most importantly though, 4 miles away, a young woman would be placed in an ambulance under critical condition, with a bullet wound to her head. Turns out, all of this would be connected to a large group of reckless shooters. It's at this point that we need to step in. This is one of the most complex and mysterious cases we've ever covered, so we need to break down some details first in order for you to fully understand the case itself, and how well the police handled every single step of solving it. At 7:22 p.m., a car arrived at 1492 Rockaway Street, carrying a number of people who started hanging out with some friends on the side of the road. This group included Javier Small, Lanier Worthy, and Jonte Smith. Everything seemed fine until 7:29 p.m., a black vehicle reversed into the street carrying Tiara Harris and her boyfriend George. Her boyfriend recognized some of the people on the sidewalk and wanted to back up and say hi to them. At that very moment, on the other end of the street, 3 men emerged from an unrelated vehicle and started firing bullets. These men were Zaire.
So did they think this was the hops? Why did... Hold on.
Saunders, 17-year-old Anthony Whitaker, and Jerrion Rackley, all affiliated with the gang BBM. a notoriously violent gang active in Akron at the time. There was also the driver of the car, Jeremiah Williams. Their shots scattered the group on the sidewalk, with everyone running for cover. In the panic, Jonte and Javier drew their guns and began to shoot back. Bullets went back and forth.
So is everybody shooting at one car, or is this car and this car shooting at each other?
And everyone went into a panic as they realized their lives were at risk and a bullet could strike them at any moment. Seconds later, the dust settled, and the BBM members Zaire, Antonil, and Darion fled the scene. However, a grueling silence would ring throughout the street as Tiara's boyfriend, George, realized Tiara was the sole victim of the shooting. With BBMs splitting up and running in different directions.
So was that black car the ops when they pulled down the street and he hopped out the window like that?
George flooring it to the hospital, and everyone on the sidewalk either heading inside or preparing to head to the hospital too, cops would begin the grueling task of figuring out what just happened, and who, ultimately, was the one that fired the killing shot. Now that you understand exactly what happened, we can join the police as they try to figure out what just went down and how to solve the developing mystery. Remember that all the cops have received at this point is a phone call alerting them to the shooting, and a description of the silver Chevy they've just pulled a gang member from.
There's another victim that says we don't know where that victim's going to go. There's a possibility that victim may be deceased.
Yeah, they got shot. Okay. Someone's got to go check.
This is what Ivy League universities you can get into with a 3.6 GPA.
90% of students.
Two of the officers ran over to the front of the hospital and discovered Javier Small and his girlfriend in complete distress.
He can't go into the room, my girl. She gotta get checked out.
As it turns out, another girl was also hit in the shooting. That being this man's girlfriend. Luckily, she was only shot in the leg, but he was still extremely distraught and horrified about the whole incident.
I'm on house arrest. I gotta go. I got to cross with my girl, bro. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna get back out to you. I don't know, bro. I just need my girl to die, bro. No.
Despite how distraught this guy is, he was a passenger in the Chevy, which they just found multiple firearms inside of, so police promptly arrested him.
Hey, Palpy, we'll take him over here.
Across town, however, there's someone in a much worse position. Tiara Harris, the passenger in the black car.
They're saying she's pregnant too. Okay. How pregnant is she? How far along? 2 weeks pregnant. Okay. 2 weeks. Maybe 2? Yeah. Oh, okay. That's not. Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
44 is a good thing.
I'm allowed to ride in the car with her though to the hospital? Not right now. I'm sorry, man.
Bro, y'all just got shot. I mean, she just got shot. Bro, just in the car, just driving down the street in Kenmore, driving from over there, and they just were shooting. None of the glass broke, but she wasn't like moving or talking. So I just brought her, and the blood just started dripping from her head. Like, bro, we see in the hospital, she's caught up. The ambulance, like, I can't even talk right now, bro.
Tiara was immediately rushed to the local hospital, and her boyfriend George was brought in for questioning. He wasn't a lead suspect, but police did find it odd that he just happened to arrive at the site of a violent shooting right as it all went down. He would claim to be innocent and actually provide a detailed description of everything that went down that night.
You turn off here, so
No, boom, no, I didn't. I came this way. And I said, what y'all got? Like, what y'all got going on over here? Like, I'm like basically saying y'all good.
Right.
As soon as I said that, somebody from down here got to just shooting a gun that just kept shooting. That's all I know. But I didn't hear nobody or nothing like that.
So you're right there, and then you heard how many shots did you hear?
Man, I can't even recall. It was a lot. And then as soon as I
So you were facing this way?
No.
You literally backed all the way on
Say I'm coming down here. In this Rockaway. Like, this would be Rockaway.
Okay.
Now I backed up.
Oh, so you backed, so the back of your car was facing that way?
And I'm like, is y'all? I'm like, what y'all got going on? Like, I look out just like that.
Like out the window?
Like, as soon as I even it should have been me. Like, you feel me? Because I'm the one that looked straight out the window. Like, are y'all all right? Y'all good? Type stuff.
The cops asked him why he was even there in the first place, to which he just said he knew a couple of people on the street and that he had absolutely no involvement in the shooting. He's claiming that when he peeked out the window, his friends mistook him for the shooter and began to fire bullet after bullet directly at his vehicle. According to him, it wasn't an accident, but a misunderstanding, making the whole situation even more tragic.
Yeah,
With George's
crazy.
statement,
That's
they were a
what I
little...
was saying in the beginning. Was it one cop was the guy in the black? Was he a op and they was shooting at him? But it seemed like when that black car came down the street, the car up the street was kind of so far up, but they couldn't kind of really see. So they thinking that it's they thinking that it's an op. Because the first car, the group of niggas didn't start shooting. It was the car that was kind of back. So they ass tweaking probably in their high, like, oh shit, there they go. And they get to shooting and the other car get to shooting.
Clearer on the whole situation, but they'd made no progress into actually solving the case or tracking down the real perpetrators. That was until they returned to the scene and spoke to a number of witnesses who had watched the entire event take place.
It was two African Americans.
So were they running?
Young kids. They come from back there across this backyard next door and out the driveway.
They hopped the
All
fence.
black. He had a face mask on and had 9mm. And then the other one had a semi-automatic rifle. And they were almost to the corner of the house running this way, and they both jumped the fence. Like when the kid he jumped the maroon hood, he jumped the fence, he dropped the semi-automatic rifle in the driveway.
I was just out back cutting some stuff, and all I heard was just a barrage of bullets, fully auto. It wasn't 3-round burst, 4-round.
Everybody be asking me, man.
Fully
does Bluetooth
auto. It
actually
was
work?
3-round
Bro,
burst.
You get
Fully
a month
auto.
for free.
It was fully auto. Oh yeah, hot and loud and fast. And then I saw two guys when I was out back. I could see through the backyards, through the fence. I saw a silhouette of two guys running up towards that street, returning single shots as they were running away.
There's casings up here. Yeah.
I got more.
Okay. How many did you hear? You think?
It was like 30.
Like where all these cones are at? Probably that amount.
30 or 40. Like this happened over there all the time.
Where's over there?
Right there, the house right there.
I heard a lot of gunfire, but when I first heard it, I thought it was a backfire because I saw this car sitting over here where all the cones are. He had his lights on.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he was working on a car and it backfired real bad. Then I saw them loading people into cars to take them to the hospital, and I knew it wasn't, because this has happened so many times before. I don't know what we're supposed to.
They spin on that shit every week. That's why they was so paranoid. They stay spinning on that shit.
To do. We can't go outside. Nothing.
Even with all this new information, though, the cops are only slightly closer to figuring out what happened. They were now at least able to confirm that one group of shooters rolled up and started the exchange before another responded, causing a huge exchange of bullets throughout the neighborhood. But they still had two major questions. Who were the shooters, and how was Tiara involved? Well, the cops had just spotted another witness that might be able to answer their questions. A woman who was actually on the street the moment the bullets started flying.
So you don't live here?
I'm not even from here. Oh, I was visiting.
So who owns the house?
Anitra Johnson.
Anitra? She is? Okay.
She was out to eat when I called her.
Okay. Everyone's okay though, right? The kids?
The kids, yes.
Yeah,
the kids are okay. I got them in the back watching TV.
Okay.
There was another girl outside. I think she got shot in the thigh or the leg. I think they took her place to the hospital.
Okay.
She doesn't got here.
Okay. So what did you see?
I'm sitting outside. To be honest, we all family. So we're all tight prayer raps and like act like we hitting each other and stuff. Next thing I know, just heard these gunshots. I'm like, all right, was that a BB gun? Come through shooting.
Yeah,
And
they
it was
got
like,
some
pow,
blast.
pow, pow. They came through again. So I'm running up, I didn't even know where the gunshots was coming from. I'm running up, trying to grab the kids. They came through twice.
Okay. Did the house get hit at all?
I mean, I don't even fuck. Is that a bullet hole right here? I don't know. I was really just trying to grab the kids.
You said so. What? They got out. They got out of a car.
They didn't even get out of the car.
Or they just started. They were hanging out.
They was
shooting?
hanging out shooting.
Did you see how many by chance? Three of them. Okay.
Now it's starting to sound a lot more like a drive-by shooting, notoriously one of the hardest types of crimes to solve, especially if the vehicle was stolen. The cops are starting to lose confidence that they'll ever find Tiara's killer, but then they decide to ask one simple question.
Ma'am, do those cameras work?
I believe so.
Okay.
She's on her way home.
Oh, she is? Okay, perfect.
There were CCTV cameras on the property, and as soon as the homeowner got back, they'd have access to the footage. So in just a few hours, the cops were able to put together just enough footage to understand exactly what happened. Remember, we already know all of this, but for the police, this was huge. Now they had a detailed timeline of the entire incident, including at what time it went down, how many people were involved, and which vehicles the suspects used. This would be very useful in the coming interrogations in terms of verifying their suspects' claims and pressuring them to confess. Police finally had a solid piece of evidence, and right as their case had started to build some substance, their biggest lead yet would step out right in front of them.
I have
And I can put it on an SD card.
And that's not the same one that was
She'll send her a link and then she can just upload it from there.
Not only had they seen the entire thing go down, but as soon as they heard gunshots, they started recording. They managed to get this clear footage of a man getting into the same vehicle spotted at the shooting just minutes earlier. Now all they needed to do was track down the car using the visible license plate, and they'd have their first lead suspect. But with that said, these kids were no strangers to running from the police, and the officers would begin the hunt to find these evil teens. While all of this was going on, police had another, perhaps more nerve-wracking situation to handle. Tiara had passed away, and her family had no idea.
I currently don't like too many people in the hospital. Let's step over here and see where all these cruises are.
My car, okay?
Where's your car at?
I'm right here because I didn't
one?
know.
Or this one?
Right here.
Sorry. Okay. What's your daughter's name? You're here for your daughter?
Tiara Harris.
Kiara Harris. Let's say have you stand right here next to the sign. We'll have someone go over and talk to you, okay? Take a deep breath.
Is she okay?
I don't know the names of who they are currently, miss.
Just listen to the cop's tone here. He knows just how bad things are looking for Tiara, and he absolutely doesn't want to break that news to her mother yet, especially when he sees just how emotional she's starting to get. Tiara's autopsy showed a single bullet struck her in the head and remained there. While tragic, this information would allow police to identify the exact bullet type and then gun used to shoot Tiara. If they could find the owner of this gun, they would be able to match it to the bullet, and justice could be served for Tiara and her family.
Why don't you own an apartment building? And I'm serious right now. Let me show you a path that could change your...
Hey, come here!
I got a bunch of people showing
That's
up.
my son and my nephew.
Okay, well, listen, they can't go in. It's going to be you.
Y'all go in the car. Go in the car.
They're telling us to wait outside.
No, I'm going in. Go in my car.
The entire family is in distress, with her mom shaking and doing everything she can to stay strong in front of her kids. It's truly a nightmare situation, and it only got worse from there. At around 8:30 p.m., they were informed that Tiara didn't make it. A bullet to the back of the head had ended her life, sending her family into complete grief and agony. Now, police knew that they absolutely had to catch the people that did this to Tiara, or risk letting down her and her entire family. At this
She looked just like her mama too, bro. That is sad.
point, police had 6 different suspects on the run, all tied to the shooting, and they would eventually manage to track down and get interrogations with all of them. Their start came in the form of a Facebook post by someone named Jeremiah Williams.
Nigga had to run straight to the internet. That's a YM. Nigga had to run straight to the internet. What did he say on the internet?
Described as a member of the BBM gang. Apparently, the post consisted of him bragging about being at the shooting and escaping without getting caught. By using his Facebook profile, they'd find his address and pick him up for interrogation. With Jeremiah also being a supposed gang member, he too would prove to be extremely difficult to break. However, by using expert methods, police would actually get him to break completely, to the point where he actually started
You know, I said, I called it on the head. He looked slow. Soft
to
head.
cry.
You want some tissue? Yeah, that's true. How's it going, Jeremiah? Pretty good. Sorry for the wait, man. I'm Detective Smith. This is Detective Davis. Nice to meet you. Alright, and so the reason why we have you sitting here talking to us is we need you to think back to April. There's an incident that happened on Rockaway. You remember this? This young lady got shot. You remember hearing about that? Okay, so during our investigation, your name's been coming up. But do you know about where you were that day, if you can? Or
I was definitely at home.
Apparently, Jeremiah also has an alibi, and even gives multiple names over that'll attest he wasn't on Rockaway that night.
You're at home. Yeah. Where was that at Amherst?
Amherst.
We got your Facebook post, dummy.
This was right before my mom moved to Louisiana. My best friend, Rob, talked to her sister, the girl that died, her sister, Diane or however you say her name. My best friend, Rob, was like in the kind of little...
dating?
Yeah, with her sister. And it was crazy. We got on Facebook and it was all over Facebook. Her sister had got killed.
Speaking of Facebook.
And my mom was like, ain't that the girl that came over here the other day? And we like, no, that was her little sister.
Has her little sister reached out to you guys or anything?
We haven't talked to her, and I don't talk to her at all for real, but.
So you were at your house on Amherst?
Yeah.
Was there anyone with you that day?
My mom.
What's your mom's name?
My mom's name is April.
However, the detectives know this to be untrue. They know he was at the scene from the Facebook post he made. They know he did it, so they want to get a confession, or even better, some information that might help put more people in handcuffs. The thing is, they're initially going to find that a lot harder than they'd hope.
I have to ask, do you recognize this car?
Dude, this was the car that was in that video. That's on Facebook.
So you remember it? Have you ever been in this car?
No.
Do you know who drives this car or owns this car?
I don't know him by like name, but I know who he is. His name's like Pa or something.
Pa?
That's what they call him.
Can you describe him?
That's funny because I don't even really know what he looks like. Every time I've seen him with a ski mask on.
Okay.
Like I've never seen him outside of a ski mask.
Okay. Alright, tell me a little bit about yourself. Your past. Like, have you ever been in trouble or anything?
Yeah. Actually right now I got probation.
So like just a weapons possession charge is all you got?
It's like carrying a concealed firearm in a vehicle.
Gotcha, yeah.
Jeremiah is making a conscious attempt to give as little information over as possible while still trying to seem cooperative. He's smart. He doesn't want to completely close himself off, as that'll make him seem guilty, but he also doesn't want to give up any vital information. The cops ask him who was there, where he was sitting in the car, even questions about the guns, but he refuses to speak, and he's starting to seriously frustrate the cops.
Let me ask, how would your life change if you were making an extra $10K with your own online fitness business? So if you want to start your online fitness business...
But all this talk of courts and investigations doesn't seem to be getting them anywhere at all. So instead, they switch gears. They're going to be as direct as possible and give it to him straight. That's their last hope at getting him to crack.
What do your friends call you? Do you have a nickname or anything?
Jim.
We're just getting to know you, man.
Right.
Obviously, you can see that you're not a bad person. Just the vibes I'm getting. But you're in here talking to us for a reason. And it comes back down to this incident. You being honest with us is what we'll be able to work with you. We know that you were there. And we also got your DNA in this car.
If I'd been in that car, I would tell you guys I've been in that car. I don't have no reason to lie or no reason to put myself in any trouble.
Your role in it is the driver, because we know you're the driver. Really what we're looking for is why. You're already in charge of the incident. You explaining your actions and what really went down is just going to help with your role in this. We know you didn't pull the trigger, but you not being honest with what went down is not going to help you. It's going to, the prosecutor and the judge and jury are going to look at someone who's not remorseful.
Drove over there and they start shooting.
So they told you to drive over to Rockland?
Yeah.
Who was sitting where in the car?
In the front. And Zebo sitting behind
Master
me.
manipulation.
I was sitting on the door.
It worked. The cops actually got a name. It was a nickname, but cops could eventually tie this back to a man named Zaire Saunders, who would be interrogated later. This was huge. They'd actually gotten a gangster to tell on one of his partners. But they weren't done yet. They knew he still had more information, and they weren't going to stop putting on the pressure now.
We got to go back to who was in the car with you. I know you know Zebo. Pa, you say you just know him by Pa. You know his real name? Okay. And the third person, you're saying how often have you seen him? Would you be able to identify that last person by a picture?
Jeremiah physically looks defeated. He's avoiding eye contact and is hunched over. He likely never saw himself giving up the names of his partners, but that's exactly where he found himself. The cops, however, are over the moon, even managing to get descriptions of the people he doesn't know the names of. They ask a few more questions before leaving him alone for a minute to prepare their next move. However, on their return, they didn't expect to see Jeremiah, a once tough and unbreakable gang member, to cry because of what he'd done.
What'd you say his first name was what? Darian. Is his name? He wasn't fishing, right? How do you get a purple, yes or no? Let's see. Yeah.
Crying now. You know them boys gonna get
If
your
this
ass.
is the first time you've seen a gang member cry, you're certainly not alone. But it actually happened again in the detective's very next interrogation. While these cops were busy talking to Jeremiah, a breakthrough had been made outside of the interrogation room. Remember this footage recorded by a civilian witness earlier? Well, after 5 days of investigation, they actually managed to track the car down, enabling them to take in another suspect, Antonil Whitaker.
You was still driving in the car after y'all done. Come on, bro. After I heard somebody done died, car should have been done.
Police would quickly realize that Antonil might be even more important than Jeremiah as a suspect. He's a supposed member of the BBM gang, and believed to be one of the suspects that initiated the shootout. The thing is, he's just 17 years old. Since there's still some information even Jeremiah couldn't give them, they figured they might be able to scare him into giving up everything he knows. And their first idea is an unconventional but possibly extremely effective method: a call home to mom.
This is really, really serious now. You need to put yourself wherever you was and get to telling with your part as much.
Mama said, snitch. Snitch, son. That's exactly what Mama on that phone saying right now.
Because you can't take the blame for this, and this was not you. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't be sitting here. They know it's your car. You can't get out of it. You're better than this.
Antonil doesn't even seem to feel like following his mother's advice. Despite the fact that they know it was his car, he's claiming that someone else was actually driving it that day. And even more unfortunately, he'd forgotten exactly who. Listen to his story and see if you believe it as much as the detectives do.
You said you were at home? No, wait. Like the whole day? Someone took your car somehow, brought your car back, gave you the keys back or whatever, and then so you could take your sister home. That doesn't make sense, man. You know a jury, you know a judge. They're not. I'll be honest with you. I mean, what you're giving is not even a good state. It's not even a good lie. That's why it'd probably be easier for you to tell the truth.
You see, about an hour after the shooting, Antonil was confirmed to have used his car to pick his sister up from an event, meaning it was clear that he was still in possession of it. But that didn't faze Antonil, and despite how many questions police asked him, he refused to give up anything.
How this works, you might already know this from TV. But I mean, it's kind of accurate. We're going to compare your DNA to the DNA in all the shell casings that we collected on scene. Is there any reason your DNA is going to be on there? Because if there is, you've got to explain that. You said no, or I don't know. You got the car with you at all this. If you're saying your DNA is not going to be on those shell casings, right? And you're saying you weren't driving, who did you let drive your car? But now it looks like it's on you.
They're trying to force a confession out of him by telling him that if he'd been in physical contact with any of the evidence tied to the murder, they would find out and he would get sentenced. And they're not lying either. When you touch anything at all, you leave behind skin cells, sweat, small hairs, or even oils that can quickly be traced back to you. Meaning, if Antonil had touched the car, the bullets when loading his gun, or anything else related to the murder, police would find out. However, as of now, detectives haven't had the time to run these tests to confirm if his DNA was present, meaning they couldn't pressure him to a confession.
Yeah, and that bitch getting comfortable.
And they'd have to wait until later. So in the meantime, they move their attention to the next suspect. Remember the—
Like, bitch, I was in that bitch with my feet kicked up. I ain't tell shit. I kept it solid.
The man Jeremiah gave up to the cops back in his interrogation, that was Zaire Saunders. Once they had his name, they tracked him down and arrested him. And he would prove to be even more helpful than Antonil and Jeremiah combined.
Did you know or hear about that young lady who got killed?
Yeah.
Did you know her?
No.
We don't think that she was the one that's getting hurt, and I mean, based on what we're seeing. But unfortunately, she did get obviously hurt. Her family's hurt.
Right.
No, when we did that search warrant, we got your phone.
Yes.
Okay. And we downloaded your phone. And your location is putting you on Rockaway that day. Nope. Did. What happened that day, man?
I shot a pistol.
You shot a pistol?
Yes.
This seems like a breakthrough. He's just admitted to being a part of the shooting, and it seems that all the detectives' work has just paid off. But they're not quite there yet. Of the 3 shooters, 2 did indeed use pistols, but one of them was actually yielding the extremely dangerous automatic rifle that can be seen clear as day in this footage here. Instead of jumping this fence after the shooting, the man with the rifle fled directly down Rockaway Street, and that's the direction Zaire's phone shows him running. The good news is, that clears Zaire of being the man that killed Tiara. After all, she was killed with a very specific pistol round. But that does put him directly in the spotlight of being the man with the most dangerous weapon, and one that is directly lying to the cops right now. And they're not about to let him get away with that.
They have video of the incident. You're on camera shooting the rifle.
Is it a pistol that holds, 2 rifle rounds?
I mean, it ain't just.
Does it have stock on it? Like something kind of modified type thing?
No, it did have stock on it. So, describe it then. I mean, on it is rifle.
That that single piece of information resulted in Zaire actually getting the highest sentence out of anybody involved in the case. Just the use of such a dangerous firearm actually increased his prison time by somewhere between 10 and 15 years. But he still doesn't know that yet. He's still under the guise that if he helps the detectives out, he might get a better deal. So not only did he tell them where to find the rifle he used, he also gave up one of the most vital pieces of information the cops had received in the entire case.
Group BBM. Just gonna call it BBM. For real. BBM.
Zaire just told the cops the name of the gang that was involved. A huge piece of information that will help them track down every last individual that was part of this attack. Now the detectives have just one more final question that'll hopefully put together the final pieces of the puzzle they're looking for.
You've been extremely helpful throughout this whole interview. You helping yourself out too. You gotta ask, whose idea was it?
I know for sure it wasn't mine. They just around, so we'll just say yours, my dudes. But you got different dudes, so you got different, like that's how they is.
They ain't say it right then and there. They said it on Facebook, but they was like, I knew they was talking on me. They just didn't say it directly to me, but I knew they was talking on me.
He just gave up the group chat where all of these shootings supposedly were planned. With this, police simply had to cross-reference the names in the group chat with the supposed shooters on the CCTV, and the names that had been mentioned in previous interrogations, giving them enough evidence to sentence all 6 of the shooters. But unfortunately, this wasn't the resolution they'd hoped for. After examining all the weapons confiscated, it would turn out that
Who the hell killed that girl?
none of them were a match to the bullet found in Tiara's head, meaning they still couldn't tie any specific person to the actual murder. However, there is one puzzle piece we haven't told you about yet. The one that would solve this entire case. Watching the CCTV footage, it's clear that there is one man that directly shot at Tiara's vehicle. If you follow this man, dressed in all black, back through the CCTV, you can trace him all the way back to the driver's seat of this black truck. A black truck that, until now, the cops were completely unable to identify. But then, they received one final piece of footage from a witness, allowing them to track it back to the owner, 44-year-old mother, Kia Brown. Police realized they had to interview
50% of the US is using an ad block. Already. With high ad block, visit your favorite websites and watch ads
view her, knowing that whoever was driving Kia's black truck that day killed Tiara Harris.
Hey, how you doing, ma'am?
How are you?
Good. I'm Detective Smith. This is Detective Davis, Backford Police.
Hi.
Hey, we wanted to talk to you or whoever's driving, who drives this truck, reference that incident that happened up the street. They were being shot at, and we're finally trying to catch up with them. Looked like a couple males, and have you heard about this?
I heard about what happened on the corner. This is my truck, but my son was driving.
It wasn't Kia, but her son driving the car that night. And after running his name, they'd find out he had ties to a rival gang of BBM. So the detectives had Kia call her son and hand over the phone to the officers.
I have some detectives here right now. The day that we were moving in, the incident that happened around the corner. They would like to speak with you. Do you have a moment? Can you go on break?
How you doing, man?
How you doing?
Good. I'm Detective Smith. I'm with Detective Davis with me. Hey, what's your name before we get started, bud?
Lanier Worthy.
Lanier. All right, Lanier. How you doing, man? So listen, man, I won't keep too much of your time. We were wondering if we could talk with you and your mom maybe in person at some point, and we wanted to talk to you about that incident that happened up the street. We know you're over there, so we were hoping you could help us, actually. You're not in any trouble. We're actually hoping you could help us. Would there be a good day for you to...
This weekend fun?
Yeah, Sunday the 8th. Can we do it anytime after 2:30? Okay.
Anytime after 2:30?
All right, man. We appreciate it. We'll see you at 3:30.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Bye.
And just like that, they had an interview scheduled. And this was the final suspect at the scene that they hadn't yet spoken to. The man suspected to be the driver of the black truck and the man they think shot Tiara.
Dad, how you doing? What's up, man? Appreciate you talking with us. So, I mean, obviously, you know why we're here at that incident that happened up the street. So, we just wanted to know your perspective. That happened that day. What'd you see? That type of stuff, right? You can run us through that day?
I was standing in the driveway on my phone. Then I heard shots, like I done pets. Then when the shots stopped, I heard it, ran to the car.
When the shots started happening, you ran and got in the driver's seat. And then Teen got in your passenger seat. Like, okay.
That was it. Lanier had just told them he was driving the black truck that day, confirming he was the man in all black that drove the truck and hopped in the Chevy. He was the man that fired the bullets. So they decided to ask him up front.
I'm about to ask you something, man. I'm about to ask you from your parents. I'm sorry, but I gotta ask. Did you shoot that day? Okay.
Even though he said no, police already had all the evidence they needed. The car tied to him, his ties to the rival gang, and finally the video of him shooting at Tiara's car. So they arrested him on the spot and brought him in for interrogation.
What's up, man? Here? Here you go.
Am I able to have a lawyer with me right now?
What's that?
Can I have a lawyer with me?
You can do whatever you want, man. I'm not here to... Okay. Are you saying you want your lawyer? You don't want to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
But in the end, this wouldn't matter, as when they arrested and processed him, they managed to confiscate his gun. And after analyzing the forensics of the bullet inside of Tiara and Lanier's gun, it was a match. Lanier had fired the killing shot. After 5 months of investigation, all the puzzle pieces were finally in place. In total, 7 people were charged in this incident. Zaire Saunders was charged with involuntary manslaughter and 4 counts of felonious assault and was sentenced to 35 to 40 years. Antneil Whitaker and Jeremiah Williams got 20 to 24 years on similar charges, while the 4th assailant in this group, Darion Rackley, got 34 to 40 years. It was confirmed Antneil's DNA was in fact found on various bullet casings on Rockaway Street, despite his claims in the interrogation room. The next 2 to be sentenced were the ones who shot back at Zaire's group after being rolled up on. They were Javier Small and Jonte Smith, who were sentenced to 4 years and 2.5 years respectively. Lastly was Lanier Worthy, Tiara's actual killer. However, as of this video's upload, he's still awaiting sentencing. Tiara and George were not involved in any of the gangs in the shootout and were found completely innocent. At long last, Tiara and her family could finally be at peace. Half of our profits in this video will be donated to the Akron.
That is sick, bro. I didn't know that shit was gonna end like that. That is sick, bro. I'm still confused on, did they mistake the black car for the ops, or was it 2 rival gangs shooting at each other? Because he never said the other name of the other gang. If it was BBM against who? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I still kind of confused on, and let me know in the comments if you caught it and I missed it, but was it BBM against another gang, or did they mistake the black car for the ops and start shooting at the black car and they all... Because from what it looked like, they all was shooting in the same direction, if that makes sense. Unless that silver car was parked on the street already and was waiting on them. Like, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about that one.